This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Coopers Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tana Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Thursday, May 15, 2025. Cross-examination of the mother of social media influencer Donnelly Donaldson to begin in the Supreme Court on Thursday. A British national found with cash and luggage offered bail. In regional news, St. Kitts, the Prime Minister condemns attempted blackmail over CBI program. In international news, Putin snubs Zelensky at peace talks in Turkey. In sports, the first leg semi-final games in the Rare Nephew Jamaica Premier League kicks off later this Thursday. And in business, Trump says India willing to charge no tariffs on U.S. goods. The details after the break.
We go to Popeyes because
we refuse to be hungry, sir.
And that's why we order the new
Popeyes Max Box Wings.
We'll eat my food in a one box, sir.
One spicy chicken sandwich, one regular fries, and a 16-ounce soda. And now you can choose a
hot 4-piece ghost pepper Popeyes wings, sir.
Food for now, food for later.
Food for beggy friend and neighbor, sir.
Now drop and give me $1,850. $1,850 to get the new Popeyes Max Box Wings.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Cross-examination is set to begin today of the mother of social media influencer Donnelly Donaldson. Sophia Lugg, who gave emotional testimony on Tuesday and Wednesday, is now set to face questions from lead defense attorney Christopher Townsend. Townsend is supported by 4 other lawyers in the murder trial of Constable Noel Maitland. At the close of her evidence in chief on Wednesday, Ms. Lugg broke down in tears outside the courtroom and had to be assisted off the premises. In court, she recounted an unsettling incident when Maitland came to their home dressed in police uniform. She said she heard him calling out, "Donnelly!" But Donnelly didn't respond. Instead, she quietly told her mother, "Mom, I'm not here," and ran to the bathroom. Ms. Lugg says that she confronted Maitland, asking if he had a warrant because he was dressed in his police uniform. He reportedly smiled and calmly said, "Mom, me a call her and she not answer. Me know so she there." Donnelly eventually came out to him, and her mother retreated to her room, closing the door behind her. Ms. Lugg also revealed that her daughter went by Donnelly White, which she later changed to Donaldson at age 18. She explained that her married name was White. Asked if White was Donnelly's father's surname, Ms. Lugg said no. Since July 11, 2022, the day she last saw her daughter, Ms. Lugg says she has neither seen nor spoken to Donnelly. Fighting through tears, she described their relationship as more like sisters. She said, "I called her my love, and she called me my love," before breaking down once more. Noah Maitland is charged with Donnelly's murder and preventing the lawful burial of her body. The trial continues this afternoon in the Supreme Court. A British national who was charged after more than $130,000 was found in his luggage has been offered bail. The man, 42-year-old Trevor White, was offered $1 million bail when he appeared in the St. James Parish Court on Wednesday. White is a musician and businessman from Enfield, London. He was arrested after a search of his luggage at Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay revealed 3 suspicious shampoo bottles. The bottles were found to contain close to $135,000, which amounts to over 20 million Jamaican dollars. White claimed the funds were legitimate earnings from musical performances intended to support businesses or business activities here in Jamaica. However, he was unable to provide evidence of the lawful source of the funds. He's charged with possessing criminal property, cross-border movement of funds, and attempted bribery. On Wednesday, White's attorney, Abledon Foote, argued that his client's family life would suffer if he was not admitted bail. White is said to be the primary breadwinner for his 6 children, ages 2 to 17. The court ordered White to report to Bluefields Police Station in Westmoreland. He is also to surrender his travel documents to the police. White is set to return to court on June 27. A special audit has raised serious concerns about the distribution of millions of dollars in fertilizer by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, and whether it reached the farmers it was meant to help. The performance audit was tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Shalois Michael tells us more. And we'll return to that story in a short while. Now, Works Minister Robert Morgan is calling on Jamaicans to appreciate what he says is the link between sound fiscal management and the government's ability to invest in the nation's infrastructure. The minister was speaking at the JLP's Choose Jamaica Town Hall meeting in St. Anne on Wednesday. We're going to take a break in our 6 o'clock newscast. We're having some technical issues and return to the news.
Taxi drivers, ready to start earning more money? Join Amber on Time, Jamaica's taxi app built just for you. 0 commission in the first month, no catch. Plus get a free vehicle tracker to protect you and your ride. Stolen vehicle recovery and panic alarm response included. Download the Amber Captain app today and start driving. Or roll through to our office at 30 Westminster Road, Kingston and sign up on the spot. So whether you're at Kingston, Mobay, Ochi or anywhere else, work there. Come take advantage.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresca Road, Kingston or call 92-MAZDA. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the news at 6. I'm Tona Thomas. A special audit has raised serious concerns about the distribution of millions of dollars in fertilizer by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, and whether it reached the farmers it was meant to help. The performance audit was tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The audit covered the years 2019 to 2023. It revealed that over 11,000 bags of fertilizer valued at $54 million were allocated directly to members of parliament for distribution to farmers. The fertilizer was a gift under a bilateral arrangement with the Kingdom of Morocco. However, Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis says RADA failed to provide any evidence that the fertilizer reached the intended recipients. It says, despite repeated requests, members of parliament did not submit distribution sheets, leaving RADA unable to verify whether legitimate farmers benefited from the program. Making matters worse, the report says agricultural extension officers who are responsible for assessing farmers' needs were left out of the process. The audit also found that 3,800 bags of fertilizer, or just over 5% of the 72,000 received, were deemed unusable and discarded. However, these losses were not properly recorded, highlighting a major gap in RADA's inventory management system. In response, RADA said that it has long collaborated with MPs to distribute inputs to farmers. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture said he had no involvement or knowledge of instructions regarding MP allocations. The report also flagged serious issues with warehouse operations. Only one officer was managing inventory due to what was described as poor working conditions. The report says this officer was solely responsible for managing, securing, adjusting, and writing off inventory. This is considered a breach of proper financial controls. The Ministry of Agriculture's Internal Audit Unit had previously raised similar concerns as far back as 2019. But the report says the problems persisted even after 2 additional shipments of fertilizer arrived in 2022 and 2023. It says to date, some inventory figures, like an alleged 800 bags stored at a specific warehouse, could not be verified by RADA's own records. The report concludes by warning that without urgent reports or reforms to improve crop planning, inventory tracking, and adherence to public financial rules, both RADA and the Minister of Agriculture risk financial accountability penalties, including surcharge. Works Minister Robert Morgan is calling on Jamaicans to appreciate what he says is the link between sound fiscal management and the government's ability to invest in the nation's infrastructure. The minister was speaking at the JLP's Choose Jamaica Town Hall meeting in St. Anne on Wednesday.
This is what choosing Jamaica is about. Spend the people money upon the people things. And this administration, though not raising taxes, has now begun one of the largest road rehabilitation programs in the history of the country. $45 billion to be spent on 600 community roads. Not main road, you know. Community road where you live, community roads that some of them have not been fixed since the 1980s.
The minister told attendees that the Holness administration has spent more than $8 billion on road infrastructure in the last fiscal year. He says that's 12 times more than was spent under the previous PNP administration. Minister Morgan says Jamaicans must consider why the previous government lacked the resources to improve the country's infrastructure.
But ask yourself the question, how come they did not have the money? We had Audley Shaw, we had Dr. Nigel Clark, and now we have the lovely Favour Williams. All 3 of them have done something together that since independence, many finance ministers have had a difficulty doing. Does anybody know what that is? It's called fiscal responsibility. And from fiscal responsibility, we have been able to balance our budget, raise more revenue without increasing taxes, and take that revenue and spend on your roads.
Robert Morgan, Works Minister. Water Minister Matthew Samuda says the government's investment in new pipelines has led to a significant reduction in non-revenue water losses in Kingston and St. Andrew KSA. He made the disclosure at the groundbreaking of the Monroe Road Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project on Wednesday.
2015 for Kingston and St. Andrew in totality, it was 70%. The work we have done in Kingston and St. Andrew, certain along our major transmission mains, has brought leaking pipes down to 38% losses. This investment, which will be followed and we'll break ground in 2 weeks on ferry to Rock Pond, which is pretty much 6 mile up to the top of Cooper's Hill. These two investments we expect to bring us for the parish down from 38% to about 25%. These are both similarly scaled investments, and we expect it to have a very, very good impact on our non-revenue water in the area.
The Monroe Road Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project is a $1.2 billion initiative. No loan funding is involved, with all of the money coming from the Consolidated Fund. More than $620 million is being spent to replace the old sewage network. The remaining $592 million is earmarked for the potable water line component. Minister Samuda says the pipes in the Kingston and St. Andrew area have long been on borrowed time.
In 2015, you required 55 million gallons daily to supply Kingston and St. Andrew. Because of the NRW work that we have done, you now require between 37 and 38 million gallons of water daily. So what that shows you is that the NRW work actually reduces the pressure on our abstraction from wells, our need to collect, our need to store, because we cut leaks in half, basically, in Kingston and St. Andrew over the last 10 years. We have actually reduced the amount that we need, which is why we can facilitate the level of development that you see going on, whether in commercial properties or in residential properties.
Matthew Samuda, Minister with responsibility for water. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the Monroe Road to Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project forms part of a thrust by his administration to correct decades of neglected water and sewage infrastructure across the country.
We did not have a systematic program of reinvesting in maintaining those pipes, in maintaining those sewer lines. And what has happened over many decades is that the infrastructure has aged. It's a big problem because for almost 4 decades of poor economic performance, we did not have the budgets to be consistently repairing and replacing water mains, sewer pipes, treatment systems, catchments, and so they deteriorated and they degraded. So this administration is the administration that is changing how things have been.
The project is set to benefit residents across eastern and southeast St. Andrew.
Now, this project is designed to provide sewage, a sewer network, to connect into sewer networks that we have already built. For example, the sewering of Mona and Seaview and Retreat, 6.6 kilometers of sewer network, which will dramatically improve sewage collection in probably some of the most valuable real estate in Kingston. But not only that, this project will replace old sewer mains, which some of them laid more than 60 years ago, with material that we are not using today anymore.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, he was speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the Monroe Road to Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project in St. Andrew on Wednesday. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Want to learn more about local government and how it's working for you? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel MLGRDJA-TV and visit our website www.localgovjamaica.gov.jm. The time by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is
6:18. In regional and international news this morning, regional news, St. Kitts Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew is alleging that he was asked to pay millions of US dollars to suppress the release of a video allegedly designed to discredit the country's Citizenship by Investment CBI program. Dr. Drew said the people associated with a production company demanded between $40 and $100 million for the video not to be released. He said he refused, calling the demand an extortion. The Prime Minister said no public funds would be used to pay off what he described as a blatant attack on the integrity of the country. Dr. Drew says he has instructed the Attorney General to pursue all appropriate legal avenues in the matter. International Russian President Vladimir Putin didn't show up Thursday for proposed direct peace talks in Turkey with Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky. The Ukraine president was waiting for Putin in the capital Ankara after challenging him to face-to-face discussions on ending the war between their two countries. With Putin absent, the Russian delegation was in Istanbul, and it wasn't clear whether the sides would meet for their first talks since March 2022. Zelensky said the Russian delegation appeared to be merely decorative. He said the next steps for talks would be decided after his upcoming meeting with the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Putin's absence punctured hopes of a breakthrough in peace efforts, given a push in recent months by the Trump administration and Western European leaders. It also raised the prospect of intensified international sanctions on Russia that have been threatened by the U.S. and European leaders. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
Since 1995, we've been your go-to source for everything related to billiards, amusement machines, and electronics. With locations at 1A Lindsay Terrace, Kingston 10, and the Village Plaza, Big Bridge, Savannah, Lamar, we offer top-quality pool table parts and accessories, cutting-edge gaming machines, and more. We also specialize in assembly, sales, and service of amusement machines. We provide unmatched customer service, expert solutions, and products tailored to your needs. Who are we? We are Eclipse Enterprise. Telephone 876-960-3891.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Lace up and get ready for a run to remember through the lush True Juice orchards in Buckwalk. It's the 10th annual True Juice 5K Run Walk, Sunday, June 8, 2025. Let's make this 10th anniversary bigger and better as we raise funds for the Linstead Hospital. It's going to be special with exciting surprises in store. Register now at TrueJuice5K.com. Entry fee only $3,000. Each participant will receive a free 5K t-shirt. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
Time now for your morning sports. The Montego Bay Sports Complex is set to come alive on Thursday evening with the first leg semi-finals in the Wren Nephew Jamaica Premier League. Defending champions Cavalier meet Arnott Gardens at 6 p.m. before home side Montego Bay United battle preliminary round winners Mount Pleasant Academy at 8 p.m. The teams will meet in the second legs on Sunday at Sabina Park. With wellness, family, and community at its core, the 2025 staging of the Everyone's a Winner 3K and 5K Run Walk was recently launched by Running Events Jamaica and their title sponsor, the Best Dressed Chicken. The event is slated for Hope Gardens in St. Andrew on June 15. Proceeds for the event or from the event will go towards cataract surgeries for members of the Jamaica Society for the Blind. Race director is Alfred Francis.
Anyone can participate. This year, I thought that away from father and daughter or father and son, we want to introduce the 3 Generation Trophy. The 3 Generation Trophy is for grandpa, father, and son or daughter, because I have seen that there are persons here, and I even know one, Mr. John Leiber, who John, Emil, and Jonathan, they participate as Team Leiber every year, and I think that we need to recognize this, because this is significant. When you have a family who you're inspired by grandpa to maintain a healthy lifestyle, and we need to inspire more persons to do likewise. The start and finish is on the beautiful Palm Drive. You know, Palm Drive, we can't really find another venue which is so environmentally beautiful as the Oak Gardens.
Alfred Francis. Jamaica's men's senior hockey team is back on the island after finishing 4th at the recent CAC qualifiers in Mexico. The team qualified for the 2026 CAC Games despite losing 2-1 against Guatemala in the qualifiers. Technical Director of the Jamaica Hockey Federation, Dr. Michelle Holt, says while they are disappointed the team didn't medal, several players gave standout performances.
Both goalkeepers have been standout. Captain Ajani Burton and Vice Captain Rashid Johnson have been excellent, motivating, communicating on and off the field. I think Philip Dawson in the defense has really excelled. He scored most of Jamaica's goals and has defended very well. In the midfield, Kevin Reed has grown into his role. I think Sean Arasinbia, a new player, just 22 years old, his first tournament outside of Jamaica, has really shown class and quality.
Dr. Holt says they have been networking to get some top hockey nations to visit for friendly games.
Teams have been inviting us, like Bermuda has asked us. President Blair and I have been speaking about getting more teams. Hockey is huge in Mexico, and getting teams to Mexico would really be, because they're the best in the Pan Am, to get more experience and exposure to even club hockey over here. Getting more juniors over here would be, I think, an advantage for Jamaica.
Dr. Michelle Holt. Finally, in your morning sports, the Minnesota Timberwolves sent home Golden State Warriors on Wednesday, beating them 121-110 in Game 5 for their 4-1 series win in the NBA playoffs. The Warriors play the last 2 games of the series without Steph Curry after he sustained a hamstring injury in the first half of Game 3. Elsewhere, Boston Celtics beat New York Knicks 127-102 to leave their Eastern Conference semifinal series at 3-2. And that's it for your morning sports.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sanssouci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
In business this morning, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that India has offered to drop all tariffs on goods imported from his country. Trump said at an event in Doha that the Indian government has offered a deal where basically they're willing to literally charge us no tariff. India and the U.S. are currently in talks to negotiate a trade agreement. Delhi has not yet commented on the remarks. No further details regarding the purported deal have so far been made public. Trump was speaking at an event with business leaders where he announced a series of deals between the U.S. and Qatar, including for Boeing jets. The U.S. president made the comments while speaking about Apple's plans to make iPhones in India, saying he had told CEO Tim Cook that he didn't want him to build in India because it was one of the highest tariff nations in the world. Now, gas prices are going up this morning. Motorists will pay $3.06 more for a litre of 87-octane gasoline and 90-octane. The price of automotive diesel oil will go up by $3.06. Ultra-low sulfur diesel will also go up by $3.06. Propane cooking gas will go down, moving by 54 cents, and butane will be sold for $1.33 less. Finally, in foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar has gained 27 cents and will open trading today, selling for an average $159.63 against the benchmark U.S. dollar. The Jamaican dollar has gained $2.27 and will open trading this morning, selling for an average $113.67 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican has lost 51 cents and will open trading, selling for an average $212.15 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:29.
Switch to your JUTC Smart Fare Card by May 31, 2025. The temperature brought to you by JUTC Smart Fare Card, transforming your daily commute with smarter, easier, and more reliable travel is
26 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 26 also out west in Montego Bay, and in Mandeville, 22 degrees Celsius.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
The Excelsior Community College 5K Run Walk is set to take place on Saturday, May 24, 2025 at 7 a.m. starting at the main campus, 137 Mountain View Avenue. This event is part of our 50th anniversary legacy project, and proceeds are in aid of providing financial assistance for students in need. Run with purpose. Walk for change. Every step you take helps pave the way for a student's future. Register now by visiting our website www.ecc.edu.jm. Excelsior Community College, 50 years strong and still moving forward.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings. A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
The JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hair. But they don't have so very long before their judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we could do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out, they do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Yeah. Change it, yeah, change it, yeah, just you and me. Change it, yeah, change it. Can't do it alone, can't do it alone. Need some help, y'all, y'all. Can't do it alone, can't do it alone. Yeah, yeah. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Need a little help, y'all. Yes, I do. Need a little help. Say it, boy. Need some help, y'all. Change the world, what it used to be. Do it alone. Do it alone.
A very good morning to you. Good morning to you. You're tuned in to Nationwide this morning. Wake up. It's time for NTM. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us in the space. Of course, that space Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. Joining us on the 90 FM band, 90.3, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9. Good morning to all of you in Radioland. Hello if you're joining us from the app, if you're joining us from the website as well, listening live from the website. Hello to you. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming on over. I'm Tana Thomas.
I'm Sandra Roden, and it's a good day to be alive. It's a good day to be with you, our listeners, right here on NTM. And of course, it's a Thursday morning, which means we're inching a little bit closer to the weekend. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to the weekend. Well, I am, at least, just to rest, reset, and get started for next week again. So I'm here, Tana.
I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
yes. I wasn't here last week, Thursday and Friday, thinking about it.
It feels like such a long time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a good
Break.
2 days of not not waking up a king like the song. It was two good days of not waking up. You know, I had a I had a forum overseas, and yeah. It was not as early. Well, at least I didn't go to the really early sessions.
Yeah.
So because I had to, save some of the energy for the ones I actually wanted to go to. So, yeah.
So what's on your mind this morning?
All right. Strengthening the foundation, advancing Jamaica's social protection infrastructure for an inclusive future. Now, Jamaica is entering a promising chapter in its social protection history. The recent sectoral presentation from the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Minister Pernell Charles Jr., laid out very significant developments showing a deliberate and also a measured effort to build resilience through policy, which is what we expect of our leaders, with the NIF, that's National Insurance Fund, now standing at a record-breaking $227 billion, a 17% increase in just 1 year. We're not only seeing growth in our financial reserves, what we're also seeing is a direct translation from the growth into the improved benefits for our people. And that is good. A lot of people would have always said we want to see the impacts of this growth and these figures that we're talking about actually being translated to the people. And that is in the announcement that as of April 1st, 2025, pensioners under the NIS will see tangible improvements, with weekly pensions going from 4,200 to 4,620, for full rate beneficiaries, and from 3,500 to 3,850 for the 3/4 rate, and so on and so forth. Now, looking at these numbers, these changes, some may say, small changes. But when you think about it and you think about the fact that this could only happen with these increases, you realize that it's not only significant, it is showing that the government is not just putting its fiscal capacity to work, but to work for the most vulnerable, which is, again, something you actually want to see. But as our economy strengthens, so too must our ambition. And countries like Barbados and Chile and Costa Rica have demonstrated that benefits of linking pension adjustments to inflation and wage indices, ensuring that retirees don't just receive more, but that their purchasing power remains intact over time. So what is a good suggestion, some may ask? As our economy continues to improve, as our NIF continues to increase, and that means there's good policy, good governance, good boards, that means Jamaica could institutionalize similar mechanisms to reinforce the progress already being made. Not only that, this digital push that we heard from the minister on Tuesday is also a strong signal of intent. I had a conversation, Tana, with somebody yesterday saying, yeah, but are we really going to use these apps for the elderly folk? And I'm like, yes. I went to US, Canada, UK, all these countries that elderly folk are using apps left, right, and center. It's not a matter of not being able to. You just have to have them, teach them, and I'm pretty sure they'll get engaged. If not, their family members who also would be engaged. And I know for one, when my grandmother calls me and says, listen, you need to come and look at my online banking app and show me what I need to do so next time I can do it myself. That is one signal of intent, at least from my example, that can be seen that there are ways to use these new devices as we go into this digital world. So we talk about tools like the AmAlive app, and we've heard of I Am Able, etc. These enables not just pensioners to complete life certificate verifications remotely, which means that the persons that aren't easily reached, they can now have a system wherein they can sign up so that if the social worker can't reach you, there's still a way for them to get in touch with these systems that were made to protect them. So we must ensure digital inclusion. So we need to look at not just implementing these, but also getting that digital divide down. And we can look at India and Estonia for models of their digital transformation and see how best we learn as we continue on this trend. Moreover, as the NIF continues to expand, investing in major projects, there needs to be strong risk management as well, because setting up these systems like Canada and Norway, etc., ensures that we are sustainable in our growth and that our social protection system continues to improve far wide so that every citizen that needs these services receives these services. Indeed, we are building something that's very important. And as our financial situation and our economy improves, we have the opportunity and, yes, the responsibility to ensure that we go even further. So Jamaica's social protection infrastructure is not a back-end administrative matter, and we see that from all the announcements, all the pronouncements by the Minister and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. And that says that we have a system now where the foundation is being set for a shared future for all those who need social protection. So what I'll say to those who are listening, from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to the Minister, etc. Good job so far, but let's keep strengthening it, not just for today's pensioners, but for generations to come. Because, you know, as Jamaicans receive, they'll always want to see more. But what I do say is, as we work towards better, we have started to lay such a good foundation. And I think as we improve, we can look at all the other systems that can help our social protection system to be one of the best in the world. And that's what's on my mind.
I see a number of our YouTubers, Sandre, agreeing with your commentary this morning. Otis Blessings saying so true. I see Kamala Bennett here saying, my 8-year-old mother is a Zoom meeting queen and does her banking online easily. I also saw a comment here from Claire Davis, who said the way how the government transformed the NIS, pensioners will now be able to get yearly increases. Pension increases are always small every year, so give thanks for the little. And Jam Graham saying this government is an eye-opener for the vulnerable. And yeah, won't read the rest of that, but that comment there from Jam Gran. Yeah. An important part of it is that just when you have the resources, you have to help the people understand how to use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm totally for the digital age and making it so much easier for people who are in our elderly population to do what they need to do. But you know that you'll need to be there and do some hand-holding for a little while.
Yeah. Until they get into it. Yeah.
Before they can do it all on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 6:45.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life. Savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The Temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is...
It's 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius out west in Montego Bay, and 22 degrees Celsius in the cool hills of Mandeville.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
This Labor Day, Sherwin-Williams Jamaica is helping you prep like a pro. Get 30% off all road marking paints and 15% off painting accessories. Whether you're painting curbs, crossings, or schoolyards, we've got you covered. Hurry in. The sale runs from May 16 to 22, 2025, only at Sherwin-Williams Jamaica.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
on TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deepfake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait,
I really want dege dumpling you give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
When you hear those horns, you know what time it is. It's time for Street Smart with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, Sanjay. Morning, Tonna.
Morning to you, Ludlow.
And welcome back, Sanjay.
Oh, thank you, Ludlow.
For me a few days, right. And the listeners, I just want to say good morning to you all the transport operators, everyone. Just till it's very bright, very, well, a few clouds, but it's mainly bright and sunny. And the movement is, depending on where you are, pretty good. If any of you in that the Waterhouse Penwood Road area, you're going to find good vehicular movement. If you're also on Henley Road and you make it onto you, there are a number of areas in the Waterhouse areas, a number of roads to describe. But once you get onto Bay Farm Road, East Bay Farm Road, the movement is pretty good as you make your way across to Seaward Drive. It's not too bad, off Olympic that is, and it's going across to Waltham. It's the same thing. The movement is good in both directions along Waltham Park Road. When you get up to the Mullines, Waltham intersection, a slight build-up there, but it's mainly on the Mullines Road side. Heading into Half a Tree, it's good, except just as you pass Tarrant Drive to get onto Eastwood Park. That's where it's going to build, and it's going to build across to South. It's building across to South Oden Avenue. Once you get up to Eastwood Park Road and northbound, it's pretty okay. But when you look across Reddit's Road, you see some build up there. Reddit's trying to make it across to Constant Spring Road. And Constant Spring Road flowing. All lanes are busy again, heading into Half a Tree. Likewise, West Kings House Road and South Avenue. And also on Waterloo. So those are the busiest areas right now. Waterloo, Half a Tree Square, coming up South Oden Avenue. So it is our second report, 7:18. It's back to you, Saundra.
Thank you so much, Ludlow. And yes, what's that comment, Tana?
I saw Maureen Byfield saying that the National Council for Senior Citizens graduated over 40 seniors in collaboration with Heart Trust NSTA who completed a City and Guilds course in digital literacy. And she had a follow-up comment. Here it is. She was saying the top 8 received laptops and another 40 are currently engaged. She was making the point that some Jamaicans are ageist, hence their narrow mind towards seniors.
Yes, and we're doing the ages here on NTM. We're doing the ages here, and that's a good initiative, and the minister announced that as well. So we're doing the ages here. They can learn, and these were I think he said something about an 89-year-old. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So an 89-year-old. Yeah, getting into the digital transformation age, into the technology. So, you're not too old, never too old to learn. So,
Gonna take a break now from Street Smart, and when we come back, your word of the day. Your word of the day is spelled Crabwise, spelled Crabwise.
Crabwise. Crabwise. Crabwise.
Crabwise is your word of the day. Crabwise meaning moving sideways, typically in an awkward way. Crabwise is your word of the day. Crabwise. Dictionary.com telling us that the word was first recorded between 1900 and 1905. Crabwise, to use it in a sentence, she inched crabwise out of the room, hoping no one noticed. Crabwise, your word of the day, meaning again, moving sideways, typically in an awkward way. Crabwise. A lot of us do that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd remember this off the bat to use it, Tana.
Yeah.
You're moving crabwise. But, do
it in church.
Yeah.
Graduations.
Yeah.
Any other important function. Meeting at work. Yeah, man. This is
that
still a lot.
crabwise movement is the movement you employ when you're trying to come out of a space.
Nobody does realize.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm sure some do,
you're like,
but
coming out. Yeah, and we always when you're trying to leave somewhere, you're like, maybe it's not the time to leave, but you're like, I really just came here to spend 30 minutes, and you're at your 30-minute break. And I say, okay, let me go 5 more minutes, you do 5 more minutes, and then you just have to leave in a very crabwise walk and yeah.
I see Mildred Hamilton here saying, in relation to digital literacy for folks in our elderly population, Mildred says, very difficult for some elderly persons to adjust to the use of technology due to memory lapse plus trust, among other challenges. Yeah,
that's true as well. I think that's a part of it that should be taken into account as well. I think they are taking that into account, which is why we mentioned the fact that, hey, family members are there as well that can help in most cases. Some cases there isn't, but yeah, we think that should definitely be taken into account.
Welcome to another episode of Coming of Age. As we age, changes to our brain and the body are inevitable. Some of these changes impact our physical and mental abilities. They can even increase the risk of disease. But everyone experiences aging differently. The timing and extent of these changes vary from person to person. Supporting healthy aging means staying mentally active, eating nutritious food, and keeping physically and socially active. While these choices don't guarantee a disease-free life, they are the best way to reduce the risk of illness and support our well-being as we age. One of the biggest concerns as we grow older is memory loss. It's natural to worry about changes in our mental abilities and the possibility of dementia. So, will your memory worsen as you age? For most people, memory stays strong. We might notice small changes, but these don't usually disrupt daily life. However, nearly 40% of people over 65 will experience some form of memory loss. Even so, it's unlikely to be dementia. In fact, most of this memory loss is mild and we can still manage day-to-day activities. But a smaller percentage, between 5 and 8%, will develop dementia after 60. Dementia is more severe, with memory loss worsening to the point where a person can no longer care for themselves. So, why do some experience memory loss and others develop dementia? Simply put, not all memory loss is linked to dementia. Age-associated memory impairment is a normal part of aging. It includes things like occasionally forgetting where you put your keys or struggling to recall a name. But these lapses don't interfere with your daily life and aren't a sign of dementia. Mild cognitive impairment, MCI, is a step between normal aging and dementia. MCI involves memory loss, confusion, or difficulty speaking. However, these issues don't drastically affect your daily activities. But if you have MCI, you're at a higher risk of developing Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. Dementia is more serious. If memory loss begins to interfere with your daily life, like forgetting recent events, struggling with familiar tasks, or having difficulty learning new things, this could signal the early stages of dementia. To confirm, it's important to speak with a doctor and get tested. So, how can you tell the difference between normal aging and dementia? The signs of normal aging. You forget details of past conversations or event. You may forget an acquaintance's name now and then. You occasionally have trouble finding the right words, or your memory concerns don't worry your friends or family. Signs of dementia. You forget recent events or conversations. You have difficulty recognizing family members. Forgetting things happens more frequently. You struggle to find words, often pausing or substituting words. Family and friends are worried about your memory but you don't notice the changes yourself. It's important to remember that occasional memory lapses are part of aging. But if you're concerned, don't hesitate to speak to your doctor for peace of mind and proper guidance on maintaining brain health as you age. That's it for Coming of Age. Until next time. Take care.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Having issues cleaning, storing, and securing your jewelry? I'm Tana, and today on Lifestyle Pages, we share some useful tips on how to clean, store, and secure your jewelry. The best way to untangle a necklace is to sprinkle it with a little baby powder, but be careful not to use too much. Once you've applied the powder, use your hands to gently pull it apart, then use a pin to finish the job. You no longer need your significant other to wear your favorite bracelet. Take a large paper clip and unfold it so it looks like the shape of an S. Hook one side onto the jump ring of the bracelet and hold the other side of the S with your fingers. Take your free hand and wrap the bracelet around to fasten it. Clean dirty gold jewelry with a simple solution. Mix a mild dishwashing detergent with club soda. Let that stand for about 10 minutes, then remove and pat dry with a lint-free cloth. I'm Tana, and those are your Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston Normal Bay. The temperature by National Supply is...
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 this morning, Thursday, May 15, 2025, cross-examination of the mother of social media influencer Donnelly Donaldson to begin in the Supreme Court this morning. A British national found with cash in his luggage has been offered bail. In international news, Vladimir Putin snubs Zelensky at peace talks in Turkey.
News at 7 is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Cross-examination of the mother of social media influencer Donnelly Donaldson is set to begin this morning. Sophia Lugg, who gave emotional testimony on Tuesday and Wednesday, is set to face questions from lead defense attorney Christopher Townsend. Townsend is being supported by 4 other lawyers in the murder trial of Constable Noel Maitland. At the close of her evidence-in-chief on Wednesday, Ms. Lugg broke down in tears outside the courtroom and had to be assisted off the premises. In court, she recounted an unsettling incident when Maitland visited their home dressed in police uniform. She said she heard him calling out, "Donnelly!" But Donnelly didn't respond. Instead, she quietly told her mother, "Mum, I'm not here," and ran to the bathroom. Ms. Lugg says she confronted Maitland, asking if he had a warrant since he was dressed in his police uniform. He reportedly smiled and calmly said, "Mum, may I call her, man, and she not answering. Me know she there here." Donnelly eventually came out to him and her mother retreated to her room, closing the door behind her. Meanwhile, Ms. Lugg revealed that her daughter previously went by Donnelly White, changing it to Donaldson at age 18. She explained that her married name was White. Asked if White was Donnelly's father's surname, Ms. Lugg said no. Ms. Lugg said the last time she saw her daughter was on July 11, 2022. Fighting through tears, she described their relationship as sisterly. She said, "I called her my love, and she called me my love," before breaking down once more. Noel Maitland is charged with Donnelly's murder and preventing the lawful burial of her body. The trial continues in the Supreme Court. A British national charged after more than $130,000 was found in his luggage is out on bail. The man, 42-year-old Trevor White, was offered bail in the amount of $1 million when he appeared in the St. James Parish Court on Wednesday. White is a musician and businessman from Enfield in London. He was arrested after a search of his luggage at Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James, revealed 3 suspicious bottles of shampoo. The bottles were found to contain close to $135,000, which amounts to over 20 million Jamaican dollars. White claimed the funds were legitimate earnings from musical performances intended to support business activities here in Jamaica. However, he was unable to provide evidence of the lawful source of the funds. He is charged with possessing criminal property, cross-border movement of funds, and attempted bribery. On Wednesday, his attorney, Abel Dunfoot, argued that his client's family life would suffer if he was not granted bail. White is said to be the primary breadwinner for his 6 children, ages 2 to 17. As a condition of the bail, the court ordered White to periodically report to Bluefields Police Station in Westmoreland. He's also to surrender his travel documents. White is set to return to court on June 27. A special audit has raised serious concerns about the distribution of millions of dollars in fertilizer by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, and whether it reached the farmers it was meant to help. The performance audit was tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Shalois Michael tells us more.
The audit covered the years 2019 to 2023. It revealed that over 11,000 bags of fertilizer, valued at $54 million, were allocated directly to members of parliament for distribution to farmers. The fertilizer was a gift under a bilateral agreement with the Kingdom of Morocco. However, Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis says RADA failed to provide any evidence that the fertilizer reached the intended recipients. It says despite repeated requests, members of parliament did not submit distribution sheets, leaving RADA unable to verify whether legitimate farmers benefited from the program. Making matters worse, the report says agricultural extension officers, who are responsible for assessing farmers' needs, were left out of the process. The audit also found that 3,800 bags of fertilizer, or just over 5% of the 72,000 received, were deemed unusable and discarded. However, these losses were not properly recorded, highlighting a major gap in RADA's inventory management system. In response, RADA said that it has long collaborated with MPs to distribute inputs to farmers. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture said he had no involvement or knowledge of instructions regarding MP allocations. The report also flagged serious issues with warehouse operations. Only one officer was managing inventory due to what was described as poor working conditions. The report says this officer was solely responsible for managing, securing, adjusting, and writing off inventory. This is considered a breach of proper financial controls. The Ministry of Agriculture's internal audit had previously raised similar concerns as far back as 2019. But the report says the problems persisted even after 2 additional shipments of fertilizer arrived in 2022 and 2023. It says to date, some inventory figures like an alleged 800 bags stored at a specific warehouse could not be verified by RADA's own records. The report concludes by warning that without urgent reforms to improve crop planning, inventory tracking, and adherence to public financial rules, both RADA and the Ministry of Agriculture risk financial accountability penalties, including surcharge. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Works Minister Robert Morgan is calling on Jamaicans to appreciate what he says is the link between sound fiscal management and the government's ability to invest in the nation's infrastructure. The minister was speaking at the JLP's Choose Jamaica Town Hall meeting in St. Anne on Wednesday.
This is what choosing Jamaica is about. Spend the people money upon the people things. And this administration, though not raising taxes, has now begun one of the largest road rehabilitation programs in the history of the country. $45 billion to be spent on 600 community roads. Not main road, community road where you live, community roads that some of them have not been fixed since the 1980s.
The minister told attendees that the Holness administration has spent more than $8 billion on road infrastructure in the last fiscal year. He says that's 12 times more than was spent under the previous PNP administration. Minister Morgan says Jamaicans must consider why the previous government lacked the resources to improve the country's infrastructure.
But ask yourself the question, how come they did not have the money? We had Audley Shaw, we had Dr. Nigel Clark, and now we have the lovely Favour Williams. All three of them have done something together that since independence, many finance ministers have had a difficulty doing. Does anybody know what that is? It's called fiscal responsibility. And from fiscal responsibility, we have been able to balance our budget, raise more revenue without increasing taxes, and take that revenue and spend on your roads.
Robert Morgan, Works Minister. Water Minister Matthew Samuda says the government's investment in new pipelines has led to a significant reduction in non-revenue water losses in Kingston and St. Andrew. He made the disclosure at the groundbreaking for the Monroe Road Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project on Wednesday.
2015 for Kingston and St. Andrew in totality, it was 70%. The work we have done in Kingston and St. Andrew, certain along our major transmission mains, has brought leaking pipes down to 38% losses. This investment, which will be followed and will break ground in 2 weeks on ferry to Rock Pond, which is pretty much 6 miles up to the top of Cooper's Hill. These two investments we expect to bring us, for the parish, down from 38% to about 25%. These are both similarly scaled investments, and we expect it to have a very, very good impact on our non-revenue water in the area.
The Monroe Road Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project is a $1.2 billion initiative. No loan funding is involved, with all of the money coming from the consolidated fund. More than $620 million is being spent to replace the old sewage network. The remaining $592 million is earmarked for the potable water line component. Minister Samuda says the pipes in the Kingston and St. Andrew area have long been on borrowed time.
In 2015, you required 55 million gallons daily to supply Kingston and St. Andrew. Because of the NRW work that we have done, you now require between 37 and 38 million gallons of water daily. So what that shows you is that the NRW work actually reduces the pressure on our abstraction from wells, our need to collect, our need to store, because we cut leaks in half, basically, in Kingston and St. Andrew over the last 10 years. We have actually reduced the amount that we need, which is why we can facilitate the level of development that you see going on.
Yes.
Whether in commercial properties or in residential properties.
Matthew Samuda, Minister with responsibility for water. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, says the Monroe Road to Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project forms part of a thrust by his administration to correct decades of neglected water and sewage infrastructure across the country.
We did not have a systematic program of reinvesting in maintaining those pipes, in maintaining those sewer lines. And what has happened over many decades is that the infrastructure has aged. It's a big problem because for almost 4 decades of poor economic performance, we did not have the budgets to be consistently repairing and replacing water mains, sewer pipes, treatment systems, catchments, and so they deteriorated and they degraded. So this administration is the administration that is changing how things have been.
The project is set to benefit residents across eastern and southeast St. Andrew.
Now, this project is designed to provide sewage, a sewer network, to connect into sewer networks that we have already built. For example, the sewering of Mona and Seaview and Retreat, 6.6 kilometers of sewer network, which will dramatically improve sewage collection in probably some of the most valuable real estate in Kingston. But not only that, this project will replace old sewer mains, which some of them laid more than 60 years ago, with material that we are not using today anymore.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. He was speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the Monroe Road to Seaview Avenue pipeline replacement project in St. Andrew on Wednesday. Commissioner of Customs Dr. Velma Ricketts Walker credits the government's investment in modern equipment for the increase in contraband seized by the Jamaica Customs Agency so far in 2025. The agency is reporting a 12% increase in the recovery of illegal firearms.
What we will always say, every ammunition we find, every firearm parts or component parts is alive, saved. That's how we look at it. We spend a lot. Government has invested a lot in us having the necessary equipment. One of them is a non-intrusive inspection, what you'd call scanning. And that it becomes our first layer for inspection. And what we have been doing is ensuring that we have the machines that are modern, the machines that have the high penetration, the deep penetration that can detect these items.
The Commissioner of Customs says the new equipment has allowed the JCA to thwart attempts by criminals to conceal illegal firearms and ammunition they're shipping to Jamaica.
Criminals, for them, it's a business. So I am not going to try any moral appeal. It doesn't make any sense. That's a business for them, right? And so they're going to find different ways to do what you call deep concealment. They're going to wrap it in foil paper and ensure that it's in deep within, whether it be sugar or rice, or in speaker boxes, or in any form of parts and accessory. They're going to find different ways to hide it because they want to get it in. But what I can tell you, to tell them for me, is that Jamaica Customs will find it because we have the equipment. So what the PM says is 100%. We will find it because that's what we're there to do.
Dr. Velma Ricketts Walker, Commissioner of Customs. Overseas news now. Russian President Vladimir Putin did not show up on Thursday for proposed direct peace talks in Turkey with the Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky. The Ukrainian president was waiting for Putin in the capital Ankara after challenging him to face-to-face discussions on ending the war between the two countries. With Putin absent, the Russian delegation was in Istanbul, and it wasn't clear whether the sides would meet for their first talks since March 2022. Zelensky said the Russian delegation appeared to be merely decorative. He said the next steps for talks would be decided after his upcoming meeting with the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Putin's absence punctured hopes of a breakthrough in peace efforts given a push in recent months by the Trump administration and leaders in Western Europe. It also raised the prospect of intensified international sanctions on Russia that have been threatened by the United States and Europe. That's the news.
News at 7 was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:16.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocho-Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresco Road, Kingston, or call 92 Mazda. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, George, and to our listeners again, morning time, all visitors, all our transport operators, stakeholders, everyone, passengers. The lights on the Washington Boulevard, where they're heading down the boulevard towards the intersection of Malines Boulevard, or if you're coming up, it's eastbound or westbound. It's the other one, State Garden. Those lights were out, and normally when those lights are out, it can cause a problem. And that's a major thoroughfare. So hopefully we can get those lights reinstated. All right, that's in the intersection to get into Hugh Miller Drive off Washington Boulevard, and that's in the State Gardens area. But the traffic signals are on Washington Boulevard, whether they're going eastbound or westbound. But in the meantime, that area has a lot of traffic. Coming once you're on the boulevard, you're going to encounter traffic, and it takes you across in the vicinity of the overpass and by Reddy's Road and Boulevard, and some of the traffic is heading towards Dunrobin, and a lot of it is also along Reddy's Road heading onto Eastwood Park Road, where there's lots of traffic heading into Arthur Tree Square. Traffic coming from Reddy's Road, traffic from West Kings House Road onto Constant Spring Road, then going onto further down into Arthur Tree Square. It's the same thing, Waterloo, quite active, also Kingsway and Hope Road heading into Arthur Tree Square, quite active too, quite busy. Arthur Tree Road, a steady stream heading down. Some of them making it onto Cecilia Avenue, Rooksbend Road, and by extension, Chelsea, and also Oxford Road. So that area coming up Oxford Road is quite active too, as you make your way onto Hope Road, and then or making your way onto Knoxford Boulevard, which is moving steadily but building all the time. So lots of traffic after this report. Most intersections, I can tell you, will be busy. So be careful and be mindful. And as usual, at Street Smart, your safety is our concern. George, over to you.
Thank you, Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, Front Page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
We're back with you. It's Nationwide this morning, and it is time for the front page. It's time for the front page. Now, we are going to be looking at PIOJ's call for Caribbean nations to adopt a more strategic and a coordinated approach to address high-skilled migration, Tana. High-skilled migration.
Yeah. The people with the high skills are leaving. But the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, is encouraging Caribbean nations to adopt a more strategic and coordinated approach to high-skilled migration, viewing it as both a challenge and an opportunity for sustainable development. The call was made by Director General Dr. Wayne Henry in a speech delivered by PIOJ Director of Social Policy, Planning and Research Easton Williams during the recent World Bank PIOJ High-Skilled Migration in the Caribbean Forum at the Rock Hotel in downtown Kingston.
Dr. Henry noted that the Caribbean has historically faced high levels of migration among tertiary trained professionals, with many choosing to relocate to the United States of America, United Kingdom, and Canada. He pointed out that migration from the English-speaking Caribbean to these countries has reflected the highest percentages compared with any other region globally.
Referencing recent findings from a World Bank multi-country study, Dr. Henry noted that between 60 and more than 80% of tertiary-level trained individuals from the English-speaking Caribbean currently reside in Organizations for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD countries. The Director General, in acknowledging the loss of talent, underscored the importance of crafting policies that transform this trend into an opportunity for development.
Yeah, so we are seeing a trend that we've always heard of. You know, we've had a lot of conversation about teachers leaving in the past couple of years. I think when Minister Williams was then Education Minister, is something she had to grapple with, and the numbers that we saw coming out of that. We then had these conversations regarding nurses, etc. And that reality, as we see it, we have to look at, but this is what PIOJ is saying, that we have to look at how we remedy the issue, as it were, of having persons who are graduates, university-trained graduates in probably specialized areas, move into these North American spaces. Now, there's not much I think you can do to stop that, Tana, if people see better opportunities, at least better financial opportunities in, you know, being paid for the work that you're doing. And of course, we had to get somebody from the PIOJ to speak with us. So we will be joined in a second by Program Director for Civil Registration and Migration, Miss Antoinette Richards, as she speaks to us on this very important matter.
Another aspect of the conversation being had too is that majority of Jamaicans leaving since the 1960s are women of childbearing age. So you have 60%, I think the World Bank was putting it up to 80% of the university, the tertiary graduates who are leaving. And also since the 1960s, a lot of those who are leaving are the women who can have children, childbearing women who are leaving the country as well.
So the responsibility is falling on you now, Tony. You're still here.
Right. No pressure.
no pressure. I would never pressure you. But I want to see, Mr. King, are we good to start? Okay. Miss Richards is here with us, Miss Antoinette Richards, and we want to start with you, Miss Richards. How would you describe the current climate or the current impact of the high-skilled migration on Jamaica in particular, but also the wider Caribbean?
Okay, good morning to both of you, and thanks for having me. It's a very topical conversation, I must admit. Jamaica has had a history of being a source country for migrants, a transit country for migrants, and also a destination country. But more so a source country than anything else, because we do have a large diaspora overseas. Now, we have benefited tremendously from this, having a large diaspora, because we do have a lot of persons who actively give back to the country, to their communities. There are lots of families locally who benefit from the remittance that is sent back from family members who are abroad. Remittances does contribute a lot to our foreign exchange, so it has been critical for our development. It has assisted us in terms of employment, because as a small country, we can't always put everyone in a job. So when persons go, it does take a strain off our local labor market to provide employment for all these persons. However, it can become a problem when you have multiple factors that play all at once. And these multiple factors include things such as we have a decline in population. Our population is aging. I mean, our Two is Better Than Too Many campaign worked excellently. Right now, our fertility rates have us below replacement. We're at 1.9.
And replacement is 2.1.
Right. So we're not all replacing ourselves. And even if you look at the current labor market, most of the persons in the labor market are over 30. And the child population is declining steadily. So we have reached a stage, an advanced stage in our terms of our demographics, where a lot of countries in the developed regions are actually at. The region where Canada is at, where a lot of European countries are at, where they have a large elderly population. And by 2050, it's going to look interesting when a lot of us age up. Well, me, I'm going to talk about the both of you because you're young people still. But when we age out of that working age and we become a part of the elderly. Right now, we have a strong population in terms of the workforce. But over time, we're going to have a large dependent population and a small population to depend on these. And our dependent population are those who can't work because they're below the age or over the age because they have retired. And that will, of course, have implications for our development. So we have that at play right now. But then, because a lot of the developed countries have labor shortages, they're attracting our labor. They're able to pay better than we can pay.
Yeah, hold it at the pay. We're going for a break, Mr. King, at our 7:30 break, and then we'll be right back at the pay better.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is...
It's 7:30.
Fix up with Fleetwood products for your home improvement, personal care, and aromatherapy needs. They have your well-being in mind. Available at retailers island-wide. The temperature by Fleetwood Jamaica is...
It's 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius out west in Montego Bay, and 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
For over 30 years, Chris and Charles has been financing your goals, dreams, creating your great moments. Celebrate the occasion with us. Borrow $1 million, pay less than $25,000 monthly, and get 30% off your processing fees. No guarantor needed. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
We're back with you. It's Nationwide this morning. Of course, we're on the front page, and we are here with Miss Antoinette Richards from the PIOJ, that's the Planning Institute of Jamaica, and we're having this conversation about migration, losing some of our highly skilled workers, brain drain as we know it. And she was just talking about a very important point, one that stuck out to me, Mr. King. She was saying that these countries, these North American countries, are paying better. And I say to you, Ms. Richards, as I stopped you on that point, if the pay is better, if you do a like-for-like comparison, because sometimes we don't do the like-for-like comparison, so people believe that, okay, I get more money, but they don't realize that there's more rent, There's high cost of living, depending on which country you go to. If you go to Canada, you'll know that taxes based on where you go are really high. But that's because they have really good social services. So tell us now, if you're paying better, what policies could the government really implement to keep me, for example, here if I'm like, okay, I see a nice Canadian or US job paying X, but when I'm in Jamaica and do the calculation, I'm getting 4 times more when I go there.
Well, honestly, we won't be able to compete when it comes down to salary. We won't. Let's just face the facts. We do not have the amount of money and resources that some of these countries have. So we have to compete differently. We have to compete in terms of ensuring that all other factors are attractive and persons would want to stay as a result of that. So Canada pays better, but then Canada doesn't have the all-round bright sunshine weather that we do. And some persons who have gone have said, the cold is just unbearable at times. So it has to be, what are we going to put into the mix that makes the quality of life? Because it all goes back to the quality of life,
Yeah.
And you said it. Sometimes they pay better, but then the expenses are equally as high, so you may not see the kind of benefits. I've heard persons in the past say, well, when you're in Jamaica, you can't be hungry because somebody's going to give you some fruit, something, some
that's
neighbor.
true. That's
but
true.
then you can go to the US and every single thing you have to buy or
You have to
Canada.
pay for, yeah.
So those kind of the whole idea of community and what community means. So we have to have a package that goes beyond just basic salary. What are the quality of life indicators that will make Jamaica attractive for persons to want to stay? But not only that, we also have to ensure that we're leaving no one behind as a country. So even as we look at what we need to do, are we training enough persons? Do we need to train more persons? Do we need to increase our capacity? Are persons being left behind? Right now, there are some persons who are unattached, young people who are not doing anything in your home. There are persons who have no certification. How are we pulling those persons in to training?
Well, I want to go. Sharon Blessing on YouTube was saying in other countries you go on the job and you learn. In Jamaica, most of the workplaces want people with experience. And I want to ask you about that, which is a very important point. When you go on the job board, which I've been on before and seen, a lot of jobs, you might have the skills, you might have the qualifications, but then you're going to see 10 years worth of experience, managerial, supervisory level, have to manage 20 people before all those things come out. If you have US job boards, for example, Remote Works and all the others that you can go on, they just want you to have the qualifications and they tell you that they'll train you. How do we solve that issue?
So, as it relates to that, that's true. And so it has to be a mix of things. So one, from the government standpoint, we need to put policies in place and set a framework that encourages all who want to get employed to be able to get the necessary skills that they need for employment. But it also requires a shift in thinking of the persons who are hiring, the hiring persons, the HR team, the hiring managers, both in the public and private sector. We have to be more willing to take persons who are trainable and train them. So having a degree does not mean you're an expert in the area that you got your degree in. It just means that you're trainable. And so employers need to understand that this is a person who, they went through university, they graduated, they got the training. That means that I can take them on and they can learn. We recognize that there are certain areas that, yes, you will require some expertise based on what you're going into. But then there are a lot more areas that we can shift our perspective on how we hire. And actually, and I do agree that's something that we need to do as hiring managers. Persons who are doing the hiring, look at how can you build a person up. But then at the same time, it also means a change in the thinking of our job seekers. How about volunteering, doing internships, that kind of thing? And some persons say, well, it's hard because I'm going to work and I'm not getting paid. But sometimes
I want to push back on that point, Ms. Richards, because I'm not against internships, and I think we have increased internships over the last couple of years, mostly from a government standpoint and in some cases in private sector. But as you talk about training, where the call from the DG of PIOJ was for policy shifts towards seeing how we retain. But if we're talking about, we have to talk about paying more, but we also have to talk about training. is that necessarily a government responsibility for policy shift, or is that a private sector responsibility for that type of policy shift in their own organizations, where you know that, hey, I'm hiring somebody, I must have a training component? Because if that was the case, we wouldn't have the job applications where you see that you must have 15 years of experience. That means you're looking for somebody who would have done university, been about the place, worked hard, know exactly what to do before coming into the role, which means there's no room. As they get the job, they must work. So is that a government responsibility or a private sector responsibility?
It's a bit of both. So there is some direction that would come from the government, but then there's also work that it would have to be in partnership with also the private sector. But then at the same time, as we look at the jobs, different type of jobs will always require different type of entry points. So there are some jobs that you can enter with limited experience, and because you're starting out. And then there are some jobs that if you're going to be at a senior level, we have to be prepared that you are going to require someone with experience, because some of these jobs may require you to manage a whole department. And if you're going to manage a team of persons, then you have to be able to give direction, and you would have had to come to the table with some things. So we also have to take that into account. There are entry-level jobs, there are mid-level jobs, and there will be high-level jobs. So some will require 15 years no matter what, because it's a high-level job, and you're giving direction at a point where you need to be able to help the team who are new to the field and give direction. But then there are also entry points.
But
So
we're talking about high-skilled. So if we're talking about high-skilled, these... let me put jobs to it. These are engineers, for example, project managers, persons who studied business management, etc.
Teachers, nurses.
I just didn't want to. Everybody know teachers and nurses. I'm just adding in those particular ones to say, where do they enter? Because you have different entry points, but I don't think Jamaica has an established entry level. Other countries have established entry level where, if you're joining the organization, this is exactly where you're going in. They have opportunities, they have building from the ground up. I don't know what it's like, so you have the numbers, I don't. So I'm trying to understand, do we have an established entry level where I know that, yes, I'm going into this company, I can become X, but I have to start here. Do we have that?
I think, well, based on what I know from the government sector, yes, we do have entry points. We do have points where you can go in with limited work experience. There are positions, there are jobs that may be at a semi-technical level, so to speak, the research officers, jobs that you can go in with just out of university, and who knows, may have done a few summers internship in an organization to understand what it's like in the working environment. So there are jobs like that. It may be that those jobs don't come up very often, and that is also because our labor market is relatively small. We are a small country, so sometimes persons are in these positions and they'll be in these positions for a while.
Isn't that a problem too?
It is a problem. It is a reality. It is a reality, and it is a reality because, again, the size of our population, so persons don't move up as fast and don't move out as fast. And so there's always also the option of starting your own business, doing entrepreneurship, which is why we try to encourage persons to consider lines of employment. We have grown a lot since COVID, and we have now persons who are considering remote work. So you live in Jamaica, but then you're working for companies overseas. You are virtual assistants. You're doing project management jobs. So to support that type of work, what we as the government would need to focus on is ensure that we have good quality internet service and access all over the country. So there's good internet penetration. So increase the levels so that for the person who chooses to work remotely, you always have consistent, secure, reliable internet access. So it's about thinking differently also about how we work, because a lot of the countries that we are even going to, it is not that the public sector is the main employer, but you just have a lot of persons who have started businesses. I have a co-worker, a former colleague of mine who migrated to Canada. She worked in a company where it is a person who basically dropped out of high school who had an idea and started a business. He has employed a lot of persons with university level education who have far more education than he and his son, who is now taking over the business. But what they did is they had an idea, they implemented it, it worked, and they have now become a source of. They have become an option for employment for persons. So that's what we need to start thinking. Think more entrepreneurial.
But that sounds idealistic, and I think a lot of Jamaicans would agree with me on that, because a lot of the times there are a lot of people who have no inkling whatsoever to become an entrepreneur. There are many young people who they just want to work, get a job, they want to be promoted, they want to go around the place, probably eventually get to a very high level where they have a nice pension and they just live their lives.
And that is the reality that needs to change also.
So how do we look at policy shifts for those people? Because a lot of problems are coming to the fore. I'm seeing now in having this conversation, I'm actually, a lot of things are just blowing up in my mind, because I'm saying, don't really think we have much of an entry level. I know that recently I saw that the Ministry of Finance and Public Service are doing some internships that got a lot of graduates in, which was good, because I had friends that I saw go into that space and now are working in different spaces in government. But how many ministries do have that? How many agencies have that? That's a question. How many private sector companies have that? I know one bank in particular that does it, but it doesn't seem industry-wide. So if we're going to talk about policy shifts for keeping high-skilled people, where are the entry points? I don't think there are that much. I'd have to be pointed to them. The second question I have is, how do we look at that holistic compensation? Because somebody in the chat say sunshine can't eat. So what's the package? Are we looking at better housing? Are we looking at better policies as it relates to insurance, etc.? What are we looking at that would keep a young, educated, bright mind from taking up that opportunity overseas?
Okay, well, one of the things that I must state, though, categorically, is that the role, we see migration as a human right. Persons have the right to move.
Mm-hmm.
So what we will never try to do is to say, I'm going to figure out how to retain you. And it is a reality, because the space in which we operate, we have limited resources. And so what larger countries will be able to do, as a country, no matter what, we may not be able to provide some of those. So we have to be realistic about what we can do. We have organizations that are relatively flat, in that the organizational structure is such that there's very limited scope for movement for persons. So sometimes persons find themselves at a desk working for 10, 15 years, because the next position above you, the person who is in that post, probably is just 2-3 years older than you.
Mm-hmm.
And so until that person is able to, and the person above them might be just a few years older. So it's like you're in a situation where you're stuck, where you're going to have to wait until the person above them moves up so you can move up. So it's a reality of some of our organizations. I remember I told you that a lot of our workforce are within the 30 to 50 age. So the differences in age, unfortunately, is not that great that you're going to see a lot of persons moving and going into retirement for a lot of persons to come. The turnover is not going to be that large to facilitate that kind of movement that you want to see. So you're going to work for a while, maybe you get an opportunity and you work and you say, okay, I've done this for 2 years, 3 years. I have learned, I'm now a master at this, I'm going to hop across to something else. It's a reality that we have to face, that you may not be able to get everything that you want in the current space because we're small.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even harder when you see some of the other tiny countries in the Caribbean who have 10,000 people. The movement is going to be limited. So we recognize that persons are going to move. What we have to do, though, as a country is, as much as we can, we provide an environment where persons willingly stay. If you do, and if you can always choose to stay, but work online and earn money overseas, fine. There are persons who are train more persons so persons can fill job markets overseas, but then some might want to stay for other reasons. And then also encourage persons to migrate to Jamaica, because then there are persons in other countries who coming to Jamaica is a better option for them. So it has to be that kind of cycle.
And with that said, the remedies that you're pointing out, Ms. Richards, if it is that with the numbers that you've indicated, the declining fertility rate, the number that 60% or so for tertiary students are leaving Jamaica to work elsewhere, like Canada, US, and the UK. What is the risk ahead in terms of a stability for our workforce if we don't start to get it right?
The risk is that we could get to a point where we just can't fill certain positions, where we don't have replacements for persons. Where a lot of the persons who are currently in the job market, when they age out, we don't have adequate persons to replace them. So Canada has been actively recruiting persons because they have gone through that cycle where they now recognize that we have a large elderly population, but we need persons who can work to generate, to manage the industry so that we as a country can earn money, so we can have the social programs to facilitate our elderly. And so we may need to get to the point where we start attracting persons from other countries who want to leave for whatever reason. It could be social issues, political issues, that kind of thing, to make Jamaica a choice for them to live in. And then they will come and work in our sectors and help to keep the country going. Because right now, the only region that is growing is Africa in terms of population. All other regions are declining.
Boy, we have to cut it there. We have to cut it there. Thank you so much, Antoinette Richards from the PIOJ, the Program Director for Civil Registration and Migration. We're going to go for a break, and when we come back, we'll come back with more from our front page.
Burn fried chicken, always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are go Burn Shack.
The time brought to you by Burn Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios is...
It's 7:50.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is...
It's 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Suzuki, I give you deals on deals. So here's the deal. Purchase a Suzuki XL7 Jimny 5-door Bronx or Grand Vitara from as low as $4.89 million and enjoy huge savings of up to $500,000 off on select models. Plus 5 years warranty, free vehicle tracking, and 2 years free scheduled servicing. No, that's a deal. Offer valid at Stewart's Automotive Group, Southgate Road, Kingston, and Iron Trauma Bay. Stop by for a test drive. Follow Suzuki Jamaica for more details. Conditions apply. Suzuki, I give you deals on deals.
Accelerate your career with the right ally. Mona School of Business and Management. Explore our suite of highly ranked, specialized, globally competitive graduate degrees, including our internationally accredited MBA program. At MSBM, we nurture critical thinkers and innovative leaders, placing our graduates in a league of their own. Join the community of trailblazers making an impact at home and abroad. Apply online today. Global Knowledge, Regional Solutions.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, turning our attention now to a matter having to do with beach access. The Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement, JABEM, is raising serious concerns about the Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA, submitted for Sandals Resort's planned overwater hotel project at Providence Beach in Montego Bay. The EIA for Sandals Resort International seeks to expand their room capacity by 28 rooms, 18 overwater bungalows, and 10 villas. The economic return for the country is 50 jobs listed as butlers, housekeepers, cooks, chefs, landscapers, waiters, and others. According to JABEM, that report failed to provide any credible cost estimate of the economic harm to the community. JABEM believes the project is harmful as it threatens communities' public beach access, marine life, and the coastline.
It is calling on the government to reject the project. JABEM is also calling for urgent legislation to protect beach access and prevent sea privatization. For more, we're joined by the president of JABEM, Dr. Devon Taylor. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Greetings, and good morning. Good morning to your listeners.
All right, we want to get straight into it based on our time. So what are the main environmental and social risks that JABEM sees Sandals propose for this overwater development at Providence Beach?
Well, one of the main risks that we're seeing right here is the appropriation of the sea, where we're seeing this quiet divestment of about 2.4 acres of groundwater to a private entity. And that is very alarming because, not only that, we only have a guideline that regulates the building of overwater structure, right? So that is very alarming. I mean, we've seen the displacement of the communities despite the communities' prescription rights. We're seeing this is going to break the connection, the cultural connection that the community have with the space. They're going to be armed to the fishing industry. Both flankers and the White House community depends on this space. We're going to see that habitat destruction. I mean, we're talking about removing 2.4 acres of grass beds, right? So that's going to be really, impacting the ecology. And of course, there's a wetland, 2 wetlands there. There's a mangrove there. So this is going to really further impact, coastal degradation. So this harm, falls in all the buckets, in the environmental space, in the social space, the cultural and the economic rights of the community that uses this space will be severely impacted.
All right, so 50 jobs as a benefit of the project. What does JABEM look at as it relates to this economic return? Is this 50 jobs enough or is it not enough? Is it potentially misleading based on the impact that it will have economically? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so when it comes on, to conservation of our environment, right? They're just looking at this on the sheer grounds that, I want to build this for the country, and this is a national interest, and in return, I'm going to give you 50 jobs, right? The environment works much more than that. And we do not like to measure the environment along those lines. So the presentation of the argument along those kind of economic benefit is flawed. Because what does a beach, value? What does, 2.4 acre of the sea values? Those impact are, that it's great. When you're proposing to really endanger long spine sea urchin, when you are removing beds that support an entire fishing industry of a historical fishing beach that really earns a lot for members. There are more than 40,000 people that live within those communities. And those livelihoods will be impacted severely. And it was pointed out by the communities. It was pointed out by business interests as well, of those impacts. So, we can't just divest the sea, right, which is the collective ownership of the country, right, just to expand your room count by 28. That is just not a fair return. And we are not looking at the extended assessment of the impact on the community's well-being. We are losing access to all these spaces. Out of we linked the health and the well-being of communities, right, when we lose recreation, when we lose how our relationship, our cultural connection to these spaces, you can't measure those by those jobs. And there's no need for the community to be displaced, for development of any hotels across the island.
Dr. Taylor, I know that JABEM had or there was a meeting recently in relation to this project and the concerns that Jabem and other stakeholders have. Was Sandals at that meeting?
Well, I'm not sure. There was a question that was, targeted to Sandals, and none of their representatives, stood up and answered that question. Now, according to the guidelines of an EIA...
What was the question asked?
The question was around the community's prescriptive rights, right? The displacement of fisher folks. And one of the things I should point out is that, there are many laws that need to be considered when you are developing a project like this. And they know, because it was reported in the EIA, that the fishers use the space and that people use it for recreation. And yet still they deliberate, I think, did not include that the prescriptive rights of the community is going to be a threat.
Has there been any response from the authorities? Has Jabem raised these concerns with the authorities, and what has been the feedback?
Well, we are raising them right now. We have 21 days since this EIA to provide our formal response to NEPA's unit, and we are in the process of doing so. The EIA process is not completed until they receive all the feedback from environmental group and communities and other stakeholders before a determination is made. But, we are making these publicly to the country that, development like these, right, are impacting our rights. And it's very, very alarming, right? And the novel space here is the building of these permanent structures, in state water, right? We are divesting Crown water. There's been no legislation that we are aware of that says you can do this. In fact, I should let the country know that, the sea is a natural resource that's collectively owned by Jamaicans, and the United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea recognize that the sea is a common heritage to humankind. And that was signed in Jamaica in 1982. So what we're seeing here, the move around privatization of Crown waters, for exclusive use, is inconsistent with even, what that law that we are a signatory to and that happened in our country.
So Jabem's position is that the hoteliers who seek to invest shouldn't be building the overwater bungalows?
No, I do not think we need to be building in the sea. I really, it's a long-standing, it's long-standing on the planet around freedom of the sea, that the sea is collectively owned by humankind. And I want that to sink into our consciousness. There are just some spaces that you cannot own. And when you invest $9 million and 1 hectare of the sea, that's something that you're alienating. You're transferring that to a private entity. And you can't do that because the laws of the seas basically says you can't own it. So these are creeping changes in our law that we really need to get ahead of.
Well, I want to say that I don't consider it creeping changes, because I was doing some research as you spoke, and I understand we have a beach control authority, and the functions of the authority, one of them is to grant licenses for the use of foreshore and floor of the sea for commercial or private purposes. So I want to hear your take on that, and we have less than a minute, but I really want to hear your take on that, because that was established from our own beach policy here. A beach control authority is established based on our Beach Control Act. So I want to hear what you have to say to that.
Yes, and I understand the Beach Control Act was a piece of legislation that Jabem is asking to be repealed and replaced, because the coastline is vested in the Crown, right? Technically, it belongs to the people, but it's been privatized, and that runs contrary to what is rightfully the Jamaican people. You cannot lock us out. So that component within the Beach Control Act is flawed and discriminates against the Jamaican people, because that is not so if you're a property owner that owns land that adjoins the foreshore, that gives you all the rights to do so. And I want to remind you that there was a special piece of document known as a guideline that was developed in 2016, right, that specifically came into being to regulate overwater rooms. So the Beach Control Act does not extend itself to the development of overwater rooms. Yes, to jetties and dock, but a special piece of document had to be developed for this. And it is in a guideline status since 2016. It's almost 10 years that it sits in that status. And I want to also say something about the Beach Control Act of 1956, that there's a section in there that says, a license shall not be granted under this section unless the authority has certified that the issue of the license is not likely to conflict with the public interest in regarding to fishing, bathing, and recreation or the protection of the environment. And this flies into the face of even the Beach Control Act of 1956 as it relates to construction and development on the coastline.
Well, we have to stop it there, but this sounds like it goes into some deeper legalities. We probably have to have a further conversation. But thank you so much, Dr. Devon Taylor, President of Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement. And we hear the conversation and we might have to have some more of it. So thank you for joining us. We're going for a break, listeners. We'll be back with more.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 4 minutes after 8.
Success, powered by learning. The temperature, brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us is...
It is 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Thursday morning, I'm Tawna Thomas. Come July 1, 2025, cotton banknotes will cease to be legal tender. This means that they will no longer be accepted for transactions for goods and services. The Bank of Jamaica advises that following the demonetization, cash transactions should only be conducted using the polymer banknotes, which have been in circulation since June 2023. The existing coin denominations of $20, $10, $5, and $1 continues to be illegal tender. BOJ says it will, however, indefinitely continue to redeem the old notes for face value. Belfield Health Centre in Manchester will be closed for 6 weeks, starting next Monday, May 19. The Manchester Health Department, which administrates the health centre, says that the temporary closure is for effecting repairs to the facility. During the period, Belfield residents will be redirected to the Bombay and Porus health centres. The opening hours for these health centres are Monday to Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Friday, the hours are 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. The health department says it regrets the inconvenience to patients and pledges to resume services in the shortest possible time. For concerns or queries, clients can call 876-797-5954 or 876-797-0685. Jamaicans will soon have access to 20 fully funded scholarships to pursue advanced studies in the United Kingdom. The scholarships are funded by the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. Alumni Relations Manager for the Association of Commonwealth Universities, Kurt C. Scott, made the announcement at the British High Commission in Kingston on Tuesday. The Commonwealth Master Scholarships for Small Island Developing States will target candidates from the Caribbean and other small island nations across the Commonwealth. Scholarships will be offered in 2026 and 2027. Applications for the 2026 cohort is set to open on September 2 this year. Ms. Scott says the awards will support the targets established at the 2024 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Applications for the Commonwealth Master Scholarships for SIDs will be accepted through the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. Details may be accessed on the Ministry's website. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Thursday morning.
We go to Popeyes because
we refuse to be hungry, sir.
And that's why we order the new
Popeyes Max Wings. We'll eat my food in a one box, sir.
One spicy chicken sandwich, one regular fries, and a 16-ounce soda. And now you can choose a
hot 4-piece ghost pepper Popeyes wings, sir.
Food for now, food for later.
Food for beggy friend and neighbor, sir.
Now drop and give me $1,850. 1,850 for get the new Popeyes Max Box wings.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast from the official opening of the Morant Bay Urban Center on Thursday, May 15, 2025. Join us for the official opening, a landmark event marking the beginning of a new era for the parish of St. Thomas. Expect greetings from the Mayor of Morant Bay and the Member of Parliament, James Robertson, followed by remarks from key funding partners, including Michael Lee Chin. Plus, don't miss the grand ribbon-cutting ceremony that will formally unveil the state-of-the-art urban center. Celebrate this special moment with Cliff Hughes Online on Thursday, May 15 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch the live stream on Nationwide 90FM's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live too. All this and more only on Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by St. Thomas Education Development Foundation.
Pull back here to Liamalu, lets it run.
European Champions League history will be created on Saturday, May 31.
Marino into Saka, brilliantly done!
When Nationwide 90FM takes you live to the Allianz Arena in Germany for European club football's big night out. The Bayern Munich Stadium in Bavaria will be the staging ground for the last stand.
Lamine Yamal skips away from Mkhitaryan. Oh, that's brilliant!
The final battle to determine the best on the continent.
It is Declan Rice. Oh! Absolutely unstoppable!
The Champions League final is live on Nationwide 90FM, Saturday, May 31, and it's brought to you courtesy of the Amber Group, pioneering innovation. And Anybet, your best bet.
Dembele has other ideas. What a chance! What a goal!
The game can also be seen live at Carib 5.
we're back with you. We're back with you. It is Nationwide this morning. If you're in the hearing of my voice, you're connected to the big show, the best morning show in Jamaica land we love. Nationwide this morning. We are going to open up the lines for some calls. I know we have our usual callers, and you know the lines, but I'm going to tell you anyways. It's 630-9371-24, 630-9371-24, and 618-8255. 630-9371-24 and 618-8255. While we wait on the calls, Tana, I think the conversation we were having before Beach Access, the conversation about or brain drain and the issues that were being raised, I had to ask really, really pointed questions because I wanted to understand, what they were seeing at PIOJ in particular when they consider what the solutions are. And I kept noting it, but a lot of people aren't understanding in the chat maybe that it's that difference between leaving university, getting an entry-level job, or leaving university and trying to apply for jobs that maybe align with your degree and not getting an opportunity because it's going to say 3 to 5 years experience and you have none, right? So entry-level or opportunities, as I said, there are some good ones I've seen from some banks in Jamaica, some private sector entities, but not a lot. And I know that there was one in particular where the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, they have a internship that literally says, as a graduate, we'll give you an opportunity to come in, learn, and then we see where you can be placed based on the opportunities and the openings. So, they're on the internship for some time, and then for about a year.
I know of one as well. I think it does it for 6 months.
Yeah, so those things are what I'm talking about as entry points. Now, I'm saying, and I'll continue to say, we don't have a great deal of that. So you're also people say, oh no, people should stay and work, but in other countries, maybe it's the resources as was being said by Miss Richards. Maybe that's a part of it, but that's how you have entry level. Other than that, you see in many communities, you'll have persons who do have these degrees that makes them high skilled, but then they don't have the opportunity to enter because they have no experience. And that is what I'm trying to get out as it relates to how we look at either it's a policy shift or private and public sector looking at how we work towards that. But that's something that I think can help. But do we have calls waiting on us? Yeah, okay. I was just waiting for the callers. Carl? Morning, Chief.
I heard your open comment this morning.
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. Somebody which is thinking.
Thank you, sir.
Brilliant this morning.
Thank you, sir.
But the only way you could have that type of comment this morning is because when you look around, you see what is happening into our country.
Mm-hmm.
Only way the minister or the government could have increased the pension is because of production is happening into our country.
Mm-hmm.
And the debt is now coming down from 120 to 65.
Yeah. Good.
And I remember when pensioners couldn't get an increase into this country.
Mm-hmm.
So when you listen to your comment this morning, people have to go back now and go back in their archive or rethink what is happening, why people can get an increase.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets me know to think that changing this government, what would me changing this government for?
You tell us, Carl.
Because if I can look around and see an urban center is opening today that no borrowing money build that urban center. Mm-hmm. Everything is out of the revenue of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me have to clap hand. And then this morning, I heard Matthew Samuda said something, and it seems like he's drinking some post milk because it doesn't seem like he's in Jamaica. I'm still living. It seems like I'm living now in Singapore. Because Matthew Samuda said this morning that over $1 billion will be laying some pipe in Jamaica on some road in Kingston there. And none of it is borrowing money. I wonder if what Matthew Samuda said, if that is correct. Because all of my ear, them the opportunity and them the breeder word that couldn't take place, you say people have to borrow to do it. And you can, if you can remember me of one of those type of big projects taking place in Jamaica, we shouldn't hear say, this a person you have fun it and this a money have to come from here, so and them have to go borrow money to do it. Tell me one of them. Can you remember? Don't bust your brain.
Oh gosh, Carl, it's good to see that we can have development from our own coffers. Indeed, I can't argue with that at all.
Can't argue that.
Can't argue.
And
with
then
that.
I heard also yesterday evening that the crime rate of Jamaica gone up to 40% down now. So we are now feeling safer back in our country. And can you drop a stat there for me? When KD Knight was the Minister of National Security and Justice, how much crime did run under his administration and his portfolio? 1,676. And why should we return but that the type of government back into Jamaica House? Somebody needs to give me a reason. Because if a tax dollar can build urban center and not going to pay tapanaris, why should... So that means to say me return them there. Me prefer to not have the urban center and develop in my country and enrich tapanaris.
I hear you, Carl.
Why you gone dumb? You're not answering.
I hear you, Carl. All I can do is hear you on that one.
But we're holding a discussion, so you need to answer yes or no and tell me some foolishness we talk.
I can get into the tapanaris conversation that you're having, but
other people call themselves tapanaris. I don't know. And people call themselves tapanaris and they want them and tapanaris to run the country. And we remember what was them and entrepreneurs. People used to put on Bobby stocks on Friday evening and come back Monday morning, come jump back in their company for the high interest rate of Jamaica and for the poor people them back.
Carl, we're going to have to take another call. But thank you for your call. We appreciate your comment. Thank you for giving us this call. We have Kimali.
Yes, man.
Morning.
Yeah, man, Kimali. Yeah, good morning, Nationwide, and good morning to listeners. I'm a listener of Nationwide, you see? And my thing is, I've never seen or heard that pensioners get increased consistently under one government. I grew up in the 90s myself. I saw my parents struggling. But in this Jamaica that we are living in now, it's a different Jamaica from what I grew up in. People can see their money work for them. Back in those days, your money couldn't work for you any at all. Right? Now, in my opinion, if we are going to make a decision later on this year, we have to make a decision for continual progress. Right? I remember one person said that we should slow down the paying down of the debt. Right? Somebody said that in Parliament. Right? And then the IMF recently praising the government for paying down the debt. Now, if the debt wasn't being paid down or wasn't reduced, how would we have these benefits that the government is giving out to different various craftsmen of people? Also, during certain people time, there was those red trees. Now we have people getting multiple increase, and there are some persons who are complaining. And when I look at the when I looked at the social workers' pay, social workers in some areas got 400% increase on their salary between 2021 and 2024. Now, how could that happen if there was a good management of the economy?
And for clarity, The debt was at 147%, and it's now trending to 68%. So
yes, no problem. But what I'm saying is that it cannot be a case where we have to allow people to manage the country who have vision and who are focused on making benefits reach everybody, not just a select few. So we have to focus on that. Progress is being done. Let the current team keep the progress going. But if Jamaica made the mistake that they made in 1989, God help us. That's all I can say.
All right. Thank you so much, Kimani. Who do we have next? Mr. Portmore, good morning.
Good morning. I notice I don't have much time. Tana, good morning.
Morning to you.
I know you're a very bright girl. How can I reduce my age from whatever it is up there to about 24, 25?
I think that's an impossible task, Mr. Portmore.
It is.
But you can increase your time here on Earth by doing particular things. Why you ask?
Why I ask? These days, with what is happening in Jamaica, if it was happening when I was younger, I would be a rich man. I would have nice. I am happy that Andrew Holness is the government of Jamaica. And I'm imploring everybody, make sure you vote Andrew Holness. Because trust me, the amount of opportunities that is there, especially for young people. I didn't know that Heart paying so much money per fortnight. And it's free.
Oh, you were listening to the forum last evening?
Yes. I didn't know. And trust me, the amount of... Hello, let me tell you something, man. I am so happy that Jamaica is turning around. I hear Bakra Master said the country is moving in the wrong direction. I don't hear him saying it anymore. I hear news say that Andrew is a liar. But probably everybody on his team is a liar.
Mr. Portmore, you can say the opposition leader, the opposition leader. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Keep a respectful space when we come on NTM.
I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you. And I know you have to try and nice him up still. But if he was...
No, man, that is a space we create here at NTM and on Nationwide by extension. Keep it respectful. You can make your commentary, but keep it respectful.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you this. If he was a very good opposition leader, don't tell me no lies. Tell me the truth. And so, you understand? Yes, he's the opposition leader. And I wouldn't want to call him anything else but that. But you don't mislead Jamaica and mislead the people. You understand me? And right now, I look at every comrade as somebody who's not thinking. You understand me? They are not thinking. Because how could you want to vote for a party like that? They are in disarray. They are fighting against their one another. You understand? And trust me, they are not good for Jamaica right now. And when Andrew wins this third term, them just dead.
I hear you this morning, Mr. Portmore. Any other calls?
Okay.
All right. That's our final call of the morning. Gonna take a break and come back with more.
Apply for your NHD refunds at nhd.gov.jm or via the NHD app. Do not click on any links offering to help you. The time by the NHD is...
It's 8:26.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside is...
It's 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
It's only 5 days. 5 days of drive-away deals with ultra-low prices on a new Mazda. Up to $2 million off or top-of-the-line Mazda. Enjoy the super comfortable CX-30 or CX-60. Step up to the new family 3-row Mazda CX-90. Level up to executive motors now and steer into incredible savings. Up to $2 million off. Don't miss out. 5 days only. Visit us now at 8 Moresco Road, Kingston, or call 92 Mazda. Find us online at MazdaJA.com. Conditions apply.
Data Protection Matters is brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
This is Data Protection Matters, powered by Design Privacy, and I'm your host, Chukwu Emeka Cameron. Today's episode is a special one. It's not just a recap, it's your practical guide to getting across the finish line. Because today isn't just any day. Today is a day of our webinar, Compiling Your Registration Particulars Made Easy. If you have been following along, you know we have been on a journey. Last week, we focused on the big picture, mapping your organization data flows and building a clear, centralized record of processing activities, or ROPA. Now, if you're wondering what a ROPA really is, here's a quick version. It's the official document where you log what personal data you collect, why you collect it, and how it moves through your organization. Essentially, it's your data's passport. But here's a problem. Getting the ROPA filled out correctly is where things fall apart. Every department, HR, IT, marketing, knows their data. But when it comes to contributing their piece to the ROPA, crickets, confusion, delays. And that's how DPOs end up chasing their own tails. That's exactly why we introduced the Departmental ROPA Handoff Framework, a simple, structured method to bring clarity and collaboration back into the process. Think of it as passing the baton in a relay race. Every department knows when to run, what to hand over, and when to step back. We broke this down into 5 essential steps. Step 1. Map your organizational structure to your ROPA. Who's processing personal data? What are they handling? Where is it going? Step 2. Assign section owners. One accountable person per department, someone who knows the data, the processes, and the systems. Step 3. Provide standardized input templates. No vague bullet points, no free-form essays. Structured, clear fields that make everyone's life easier. Step 4. Set deadline and track progress. Transparency is key. Everyone knows what's expected and by when. Step 5. Review, reconcile, and finalize. Align overlaps, spot gaps, and consolidate into one comprehensive ROPA document. This method transforms ROPA compilation from a scattered scramble into a smooth, repeatable process. But today, we are taking it further. Because while ROPAs are crucial, they are only part of the bigger picture. For Jamaican organizations, it all ties back to your registration particulars, the official submission required by the Office of the Information Commissioner. If you have already registered for today's webinar, you should have received preparatory emails on Monday. These included your prep form and data flow form. If you have been diligent and completed those, you are in an excellent position to take advantage of today's webinar. By the end of the webinar, you won't just have a working draft. You will be ready to submit your registration particulars with confidence. And for those who didn't find the time to complete the prep work, you will benefit equally because we will help you go through that process. Today's webinar will cover 3 things every organization struggles with. 1, the most common mistakes that delays approvals. We'll show you how to avoid them. 2, a live demo of the OIC registration portal. You'll see exactly where to click, what to enter, and what really matters. 3, hands-on tools to streamline your process, including our proven registration particulars template and a chance for a live form review. We're not just giving you information, we're giving you transformation. By the end, you'll be equipped to meet your regulatory obligations without second guessing. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time, but it's your last call. Go to www.designprivacy.io and secure your post. Remember, registration particulars are more than a formality. They are the legal and constitutional gateway to processing personal data in Jamaica. They protect your data subjects, they protect your organization, and they're your first step towards sustainable compliance. You've been listening to Data Protection Matters. Until next time, keep your data clean, your processes clear, and your roper rocking.
Data Protection Matters was brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
JANAC Global Accreditation, promoting consumer confidence, facilitating market access through internationally accepted accreditation and training services. Accreditation, your visa for global access. Accredited once, accepted everywhere. Call JANAC Global Accreditation at 876-968-7790 or visit our website at www.janac.gov.jm.
Celebrate Mom with the Jamaica Observer's 4 Moms Mother's Day promotion. Win big for Mom with a $50,000 cash prize, appliances, gift certificates, movie passes, and more. Just spend $6,000 or more with your multi-link card. Grab the Daily Observer, complete the entry form, and submit it with your receipt. 4 lucky moms will win. Enter by May 16th and make this Mother's Day unforgettable. See the Jamaica Observer for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Yes, me get the last cheese. Taste the beat. Brothers and sisters, at the end of Easter service, we have cheese. Taste the beat. But one day we get no bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Serve, sell me some bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Why, this looking nice with some tasty cheese. Taste the beat. Could I have some cheese, please? Taste the beat. Make we get on real bad with the tasty cheese, boy. Tasty beat with tasty cheese.
Answers Mother's Day sale up to 70% off. Up to 70% off the best brands for mom. Answers Gifts at Home, Tropical Plaza, and Answers for Children, Tropical Plaza and Sovereign Center. Answers Mother's Day sale till May 17, 2025.
Horton's RX, the caring pharmacy, the Yes We Can pharmacy, the Yes It's in stock pharmacy, the house call delivery pharmacy, the RX Pack mobile app pharmacy, the RX Plus digital wallet pharmacy, the 20% reward pharmacy, the easy to remember number pharmacy, 876 RX0RXRX, the easy access 24/7 pharmacy, Horton's RX, the convenient pharmacy, hashtag wellness, hashtag simply delivered.
We are back, and of course it is after 8:30, it's about 8:36 right here on the 90 FM band on Nationwide this morning, and we're in my favorite segment, your favorite segment. Is it your favorite segment? I don't know. Tell me if it's your favorite segment. But it's Tax and You, and of course I like talking to the people from the Tax Administration of Jamaica. And this week we are looking at capital allowance and how business persons can benefit. Did you hear what I said? I said how business persons can benefit. Joining me is tax specialist at the TAJ, Colleen Williams, and she will be telling us a little bit more about capital allowance and how people can benefit. Welcome, Colleen. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Mr. Roden, and your listeners from the Tax Administration Jamaica family. It's always a pleasure to share on this program.
Indeed, indeed. So, when operating a business, a person likely face significant cost to acquire capital assets to facilitate the effective functioning of the business, to ensure that everything runs well. So, how are these costs treated for tax purposes?
Okay, so the owner of the asset is allowed to write off a portion of the cost each year as an expense against the income.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is done by way of the a capital allowance mechanism. But if you allow me, I'll just unpack that a little bit.
Not a problem. Go right ahead.
Sure. So the business person does not pay tax on their gross profit. The gross income, they pay tax on their income after allowing all expenses and deductions that are incurred in earning the income.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so those deductions, those expenses are, for tax purposes, classified they're in two categories. One, you have the recurrent expenditure, which would be the day-to-day operational costs, like your salaries, your wages, and those. And then you have the capital expenditure, which is when you acquire assets. So the one that we're talking about here is when you acquire assets such as motor vehicles, buildings, and those. Right? Whereas you get to claim the recurrent expenditure, the day-to-day operational costs, in full against your income because you are able to utilize the full benefit of those. But whereas in respect of the capital expenditure, you do not utilize the full benefit of the asset in 1 year, and so you are required now to claim a part of the cost over a number of years, the deemed life. And I could further use an example. If you are, say, you need to buy a pickup truck to be used in your operation, right? The petrol and the servicing costs, that is your recurrent expenditure.
Okay.
So you get to claim that in full. But the actual cost of the pickup truck, you get to claim that, a portion of that.
What's the
over
portion?
a number of years. Yes, a portion of it. So, for example, for the pickup truck, it is a trade vehicle. And so you'd get to claim 20% of the cost of that pickup truck over a 5-year period. Because remember, the rationale is you're not using the full benefit of the truck in 1 year, in the year of acquisition.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so the capital allowance mechanism is really outlined in the Income Tax Act. So it outlines a different category of assets. I would have spoken about a motor vehicle. But you do have different categories. You have buildings, plant and machinery, motor vehicles, and you do have intangible assets. Those would be like your intellectual property and your research and development. You can get capital allowance on those as well, right? The regime also speaks to the different types of capital allowance, your initial allowance, which is what you get in the year of acquisition, and the annual allowance, which you get over the life of the assets, and your balancing charge and balancing allowance. Now, it also outlines the rates. So there are fixed rates. I would have told you about the rates for the truck, for the pickup truck, which is 20%, but you have different rates for different assets.
So how exactly is the amount to be claimed each year determined based on the different assets? So you told us about the pickup truck, which would be 20%, but is it that there are percentages per item that the business would get, or is there a blanket percentage?
Okay, so it is an asset. It is a rate per item of capital expenditure. So there's a rate for motor vehicle, there's another rate for buildings, and even the buildings, it varies based on the type of material that is used to construct the building. So it varies. It's not just one rate. It's not a blanket thing. It varies depending on the category of the asset. I must hasten to say, though, that during the budget presentation, the Minister of Finance would have announced an accelerated capital allowance regime for assets that would have been acquired for specified assets, not all of them, for specified assets that would have been acquired between January 1, 2025 and December 31st, 2026. Essentially what that means is that persons will get higher percentages. They'll be able to claim more of the capital expenditure, especially in the first 2 years. Right? So yeah.
So they get a better deal then for acquiring whatever it is as it relates to the goods that they need or whatever they need for propelling their business forward then.
That is correct. And remember, when you retool your business, it is to your advantage. It makes you more efficient, more effective. It causes your business to grow and ultimately the economy.
So for those who didn't hear that, I'm saying this clearly for all our listeners, that special program there is said from January 1st, 2025, going all the way into 2026. If you are retooling for your business, there is a higher percentage. What's the percentage like now?
Right. So it will vary again from asset to asset. I could give you one example.
Please give me that example.
So, for example, if you were to construct an industrial building, and an industrial building could be a multi-story car park, a special economic zone building, a hospital, a manufacturing plant, anything of that nature. Buildings used in agriculture, all of those are considered industrial buildings. So to the extent that you were to construct any of those, you'd be allowed, under the accelerated capital allowance regime, you would be able to claim in the first year 30% initial allowance and 5.5% annual allowance. So that gives you a grand 35.5% recovery in the first year. In the second year, you're able to claim a special allowance of 25% and annual allowance again of 5.5. So what that does is that for the first 2 years, for the year 2025 and 2026, you'll be able to recover a grand 66% of your expenditure just over those 2 years, compared with what obtained up to 2020, the end of 2024, you'd be, for a similar type of building, you'd be able to claim 24%. So you see, we're comparing now 24% with 66%. So hence we speak of the accelerated capital allowance.
So for the capital allowance, how does it go? Do I send something in to the tax administration and then you transfer that percentage to me?
No. When you're filing your income tax return, as business persons, you're required to file an annual return each year.
Right.
So there is a capital allowance schedule on which you would outline that acquisition, and the rates and everything will be made available to you. So I just wanted to point out here that Tax Administration Jamaica is tasked with administering this accelerated regime. And so we have a taxpayer education program that is coming up. So we'll be putting out, information in print media. So there will be information on our website in short order. And then we will be hosting webinars and, basically providing information to our clients well ahead of the next filing season.
Okay, which sounds
right,
really
because
good.
The thing is, on this program, we don't have enough time to go through all the rates and all the intricacies. And so this morning, I just want to whet your appetite to let you know that more is coming, and you have to keep your ears to the ground.
All right, not a problem. Not a problem.
Or customer.
All right, we'll have to cut it there. But thank you so much for joining us, Colleen. You know, I'm always here for TAJ. So when you're having those forums, think of me and ensure that I get to understand as well. And that's technical specialist at the TAJ, Colleen Williams. We're going to a break, listeners. And after this, it's your birthdays.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 8:47.
The Birthday Club is brought to you by Burger King Stacker. Choose your style, double, triple, or quad stacked. Order the new BK Mega Stacker today.
Talk, let's have conversations in the dark. World is sleeping, I'm awake with you. With you. Watch movies that we both already seen. I ain't even looking at the screen, it's true. I got my eyes on you. And you say that you're not worthy. You get hung up on your flaws, but in my eyes you are perfect as you are. I will never try to change you, change you. I will always want the same you, same you. Swear on everything I pray to that I won't break your heart. I'll be there when you get lonely, lonely. Keep the secrets that you told me. And your love is all you owe me. And I won't break your heart. On Sunday mornings we sleep until noon. Well, I could sleep forever next to you. Next to you. And we got places we both gotta be, but there ain't nothing I would rather do than blow up all my plans for you. And you say that you're not worthy and get hung up on your flaws, but in my eyes you are perfect as you are, as you are. I will never try to change you, change you. I will always want the same you, same you. Swear on everything I pray to that I won't break your heart. I'll be there when you get lonely, lonely. Keep the secrets that you told me, and your love is all you owe me. And I won't break your heart when no one seems to notice, and your days it seems so hard.
Time for birthdays. Dedicating this one to Devon Lawrence. Happy birthday to you, Devon. Wishing for you a wonderful day. I'm hearing that you're the best mechanic in the entire world, not just Jamaica, you know, or the Caribbean, but the entire world. Happy birthday to you, Devon Lawrence. Wishing for you a great day. Happy birthday. Greetings coming from Jermaine, George, Ziggy, Too Tall, Bumperman, all of your friend them, sending you happy birthday greetings. And this one is for you.
Go on, one vibe, give thanks for life. Next year we doing it again. Yeah. Happy birthday, yeah, my friend. Whoa. One more year on them. More life to your cow there till the end. Real from the heart, no pretend. Big birthday, bash. If I ever on the ground, nigga, splash. Give thanks for your life, oh gosh. Watch it, they make me go dip in at the stash. Drink and smoke so we frost. Turn up the sound box. Girl, them a bubble to the max. Everything well cool we are passport. We are pop champagne non-stop.
Another general celebrating his birthday today as well, Mash Williams. Good morning to you, Mash, celebrating your birthday today. Wishing for you a great one. Happy birthday, Mash Williams. Coming from Guyva, and the whole package crew. So happy birthday to you, Mash Williams. Over in the YouTube chat, Albert Morgan saying happy birthday wishes to Joyce Brown in St. Elizabeth. And guess what? Miss Joyce is 100 years old today.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you, Miss Joyce. Wishing for you a fantastic one. Happy birthday.
Indeed. Happy birthday to you. Another one we have here is birthday greetings going to Rhonda Lumsden Lou. That's the general manager for corporate services at JSIF, Jamaica Social Investment Fund. We are celebrating you, Miss Rhonda Lumsden Lou, as you celebrate your birthday today. Special greetings going out to you. Enjoy your day today.
Arlene Rose sending happy birthday blessings to her cousin Avis Rowe in St. Elizabeth, a compound town, St. Elizabeth. Happy birthday to you, Avis Rowe, from your cousin Arlene Rowe, saying enjoy your day, cuz.
I have happy birthday to Mrs. Victoria Mackenzie Bennett of Darien St. Mary, who sells banana and plantain in the Coronation Market. She is 85 years old today. Victoria, Miss Victoria, you are a strong little lady. Happy birthday greetings coming from 2 Music My right here on our YouTube chat. Wishing you a very happy birthday.
Scrolling on down, Desmond Miller sending happy birthday greetings to Angie Miller. Greetings coming from her loving husband, of course, Desmond Miller, her daughter Kimberly Miller, and son Sanjay Miller. Happy birthday to you, Mrs. Miller, Angie Miller, from your family. Wishing for you a great day.
Indeed, I have Norman Cunningham celebrating his birthday today. Norman Jesus celebrating his birthday today. Dean Roach celebrating his birthday today. And Precious Ital blessings was yesterday. So we have those birthdays, and I'm wishing you a very happy birthday. Of course, giving thanks for life, giving thanks for another year. And today is May 15th, 2025. And I'm wishing you the best day, the best birthday that you could ever wish for.
Melissa Williams sending happy 53rd birthday to her brother. Melissa is saying, may this special day bring joy, laughter, and wonderful memories. Here's to another fantastic year ahead. I love you so much, my Mr. Williams. She says, happy birthday, Melissa Williams. Happy birthday to your brother, Melissa. 53 years old today and batting well.
All right, I have another one here that says happy 67th to our pops, Timothy. Wishing you health and happy returns coming from your girls, Kimon, Kamaya, and Tamoya. Loads of love on your special day. So we're wishing you a very, very happy birthday, and we want you to know that your girls are sending you all the love that they have in their hearts, Kimon, Kamaya, and Tamoya, because they love you so much on your 67th. Happy birthday to you.
Cherise Francis sending happy birthday greetings to Shanique, wishing you a day filled with love, laughter, and all your favorite things. So happy birthday to you, Shanique, from Cherise Francis. Again, wishing you a day filled with love, laughter, and all your favorite things. Happy birthday.
I think this is my last one. Happy birthday to Sigrid Reed of Pembroke Hall, St. Mary. Paulette Wheatley sending that birthday greetings to you, Sigrid, and we're wishing you a very happy birthday. Of course, Sharon Bless Marigold Weber saying happy birthday to all the celebrants here, and we want to wish you a very special day. And if it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you.
Well, today is a new day. Give thanks to life. All praises to the Lord, me safe and me sanctified. Nah, make them stress me. Me a whole a vibe. With Red Boom, TJ and Moon in my bonafide. And the Lord is around us. In blessings surround us. Me not care who like me. Me just a go show love, and the Lord is around us. His blessings surround us. Me no care who like me. Me just a go show love. Oh, far me I come from, but a journey. Good thing God got me. See it and you feel it. Far me I come from.
The Birthday Club was brought to you by Burger King Stacker. Choose your style, double, triple, or quad stacked. Order the new BK Mega Stacker today.
Whoa, yeah. My sweet Lord, my Lord, my sweet Lord.
As we end on one of Jermaine King's favorite songs, we have to wrap up the show. It was a good show, Tom.
Can I squeeze this in as well?
No problem.
Sandre, that greetings for Tim, also coming from Audrey, Brian, and the rest of Miss Beck's clan. Happy birthday to our brother Tim. May the good Lord continue to cover you. Love you always. And D-Vision sending happy birthday. He says to my two lovely daughters, Talia and Shanicia, a special day to you. So happy birthday to both of them.
I see one from Rupert Wilson. I'm squeezing you in, Rupert. Happy birthday to his best friend Esther Williams from Orlando, Florida. And to Belize, he says he loves you and enjoy your day.
So that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning. Thanks to our technical operator, Jermaine King, super producer, Michelle McCray Smith, and super editor, Kimon Thompson. Up next, the Consumer Hour, and at 10, Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tana.
I'm Sandre.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
Oh, my Lord, my sweet Lord.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
On this week's House